Hi, babe. Welcome to the Horror Babe Show. I'm your host, Chelsea Beller. First of all, do you like this new setup? I feel like I have to change it up every few months. You like it more? You tell me in the comments. Okay. Story time. Ever since I was a little girl, I have had a few phobias, actually, but one in particular that I can't shake for the life of me. I've always been afraid of clowns. I know. I'm one of those people. I'm sorry if you are a clown. I am terrified. I am terrified. I remember when I was very, very small, I was with my parents. We were at some kind of amusement park or theme park or fair or something. And there was a clown and he came up to me and I started wailing. Tears of doom, of sadness, of despair. There was no end in sight. My parents had to whisk me away. And just ever since then, I don't know. I wish I did. I hate to admit this, by the way, but I like to be real with you because it's just you and me. We're just talking. I hate to admit this, that I have had this fear my whole life. I hate to admit that it took me forever to watch it. The new one's, not the Tim Curry one. I actually still haven't even seen that one because of this fear. I finally watched Killer Clowns from Outer Space and I was like, yeah, that freaks me out. I also was making out with a guy while I was watching it, so I wasn't really watching it, but you understand. There is one clown that now I can't get enough of him. It is so strange. It is the weirdest thing. He is the most horrific, gruesome, sinister clown one's nightmares could even think up. And yet, I can watch him all day long. Art the clown. Yeah, am I some kind of twisted or what? Recently, watched All Hallows Eve, Terrifier 1 and Terrifier 2, because one of my friends was talking about how much they love Terrifier 2. That's Katie Hansen from episodes 3 and 4 and 5. It was a two-parter. And I was like, I really need to dive into this, and I want to start at the beginning, and I'm going to get over this fear. I have to get over this. And so I decided to watch them all. And I wasn't really sure if I was going to have anything to say. I didn't even know if I was going to go through with watching all of them, I swear to you. But then I watched them and I was like, oh, I have to talk about this now. So let's review All Hallows Eve, Terrifier 1 and Terrifier 2 with Art the Clown. Now, for time's sake, yours and mine, I'm skipping over the plot descriptions this time. Normally my method is provide a summary, provide a review. However, it's 3 movies and there's so many details that I wouldn't want to skip out on that I'm just not gonna describe it at all. Also, just right off the bat, I do encourage you to watch all 3 of these because there's something to take away from each of them. And it's also, I don't know if it's fun for you, but it's fun for me to watch the evolution of things, especially films like this where it started as a low budget independent film and is where it is now, a freaking franchise. So I enjoy watching that evolution. I enjoy seeing the changes, the creators made or didn't make or whatever. So I do suggest watching all 3. If you really have no interest in All Hallows Eve, that's fine. Terrifier 1 and Terrifier 2 are good enough. I don't think there's anything really from All Hallows Eve that you would miss. Okay. All Hallows Eve is a 2013 horror anthology where 4 movies take place in one. I really like movies like this, where it's just little shorts kind of meshed together. Side note, the reason this episode is a week late is because I've actually been working on a horror film production, which is an incredible opportunity. I'm so stoked to talk more about it when the time comes. It is a horror anthology. I think that's the most I could really say. It has been so fun being a part of it. I really can't wait. Total side note. Okay, All Hallows Eve is a B movie. Maybe even more like a C or a D. It is what it is. Like, the production value just isn't very high. The acting is subpar. The writing is a bit convoluted. I appreciate the attempt to put 3 movies into one, thus creating 4 movies. But the second segment of this anthology essentially has nothing to do with the other 2. The most it has to do with the first and third segments is there is an art piece of Art the Clown, but he isn't corporeally in the second segment. The second segment focuses on a young woman who's alone in the house until an alien pops into her house and starts chasing and hunting her. Her husband apparently painted this super creepy painting that isn't revealed until the very end, when she's dragged off by the alien and pulls the fabric that's covering the painting off the canvas, and then Art the Clown is revealed, but as a painting, not as Art the Clown. Literally has nothing to do with the other segments. I don't really know why they threw it in there. Like, I understand wanting to throw 3 segments into one movie. I understand just, they all fall into the horror genre. But storyline wise, it doesn't make sense, right? The first segment was just freaky as hell. It incorporated these cloaked demonic creatures underground performing very cult-like activities. They had these women tied up. They perform, I guess it's like a ritual on a pregnant woman. Totally fascinating. But art wasn't the main character of this segment. The third segment is primarily about Art. He is chasing after this woman, randomly appearing near her, beside her, behind her, in a car next to her. A little bit supernatural, because it's like, wait, you were just over there. How are you here now? Creepy. A dollop of supernaturalism, I would say. But no more than Michael Myers magically coming to after falling from a second-story balcony. Yeah, I give this movie a 2 out of 5. A 2 out of 5. Yeah. So, sorry. Don't apologize. It's a crap movie. Move on. Okay. So after that shit show, I was like, I've been told Terrifier 2 at least is extremely good. Terrifier 1 is pretty good. Like, these are things that I think maybe are true, but I'm having a really hard time believing them because of All Hallows Eve. So it took me a while to jump into Terrifier 1, but finally I did. Glad I did. Terrifier 1 is a 2016 independent slasher film, all about Art. These 2 young women are finishing up a night out. It's Halloween. And Art decides to make them his victims. The plot here is centered around Art chasing after, mutilating, and murdering these 2 women, along with like 3 other people, almost 4, because the other people just kind of get in his way of chasing, mutilating, and murdering these young women, or just anyone who tells him he can't spread his feces along the wall. Why did I even have to say that? That is the one thing about these films that I'm just like, why? Stop. Wash your hands. Wash your hands. There are two very intriguing aspects to this film. One is Art, at the very end, shoots himself in the head when he's caught by the police. He had been in the middle of something very important. He was eating someone's face. He was eating the face of an unconscious woman named Vicky. Vicky was the sister of one of the two co-stars from earlier in the film. Then Art is brought into the hospital, presumed dead, obviously, because, hello, gunshot to the head, right? You would presume. But then he magically comes back to life. I mean, I knew there was a Terrifier 2, so I was like, well, he can't really be dead, right? But this ending was still like shocking and disturbing, not unlike the rest of the film. The second very intriguing part of this is that Vicky, the unconscious, having had her face eaten woman, is also still alive. Right, so I rated Terrifier a 3 out of 5. Even though the production value had heightened and the acting was much better from Art's co-stars, I felt the two women didn't have much depth in terms of story, and the main focus was how Art killed them. Not much of a story, but good enough for what it was. It was a gory, creepy, scary movie. They weren't exactly aiming for an Oscar. This brings us to Terrifier 2. Terrifier 2 is a 2022 horror slasher that picks up right after Terrifier 1. Art is back again. He's alive and well, eating his own eyeball. Quirky. Art is dismembering and murdering, as is his favorite pastime. And we as an audience learn that Vicky is alive and well, and she's on a talk show. Unfortunately, the whole eating her face thing had her horribly disfigured. Yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure plastic surgeons do a lot better than that these days, but you know, maybe they didn't have a professional working on her. Who's to say? Who knows, right? So Vicky looks like a horror movie all by herself, and backstage, after the interview, she goes full crazy and murders the talk show host, who, side note, who is actually the same actress from All Hallows Eve. Funny little tie-in there. I don't like her. I don't find her very convincing. Okay, this is just one aspect to this film. The focus of this movie is on a family, a mom, a teen daughter, and a preteen son. It's been a year since the events from Terrifier 1, and people are speculating that this killer clown is still alive because they didn't find his body. The daughter, Sienna, keeps seeing Art around town. Totally freaks her out. And then, much later in the film, because this film is 2.5 hours long, Art chases after her and her younger brother around this abandoned amusement park. Somehow Sienna becomes like freaking Buffy. She's just the chosen one for some reason, because Art kills her and she comes back to life, and then she kills him by chopping off his head. I know. This movie was so entertaining. Yes, it is 2.5 hours long. Very long for a film. Maybe it didn't need to be 2.5 hours long, though I was riveted the entire time, which is saying a lot because it's hard for me to sit for that long. I really enjoyed this movie. I thought the cinematography was done exceedingly well. I thought the acting was pretty good for the most part. The mom in this didn't quite meet expectations. She kind of just played angry mom, which when you just play an emotion, it doesn't come off very convincing. So she wasn't really my favorite, and I was kind of relieved when she died. But I really liked the actress who played Sienna. I really felt for her. I felt for her and her situation, her panic attacks, her dynamic with her family members. One aspect I really enjoyed was the dream sequences. They added this bit of fantasy and surrealism. I like a dose of surrealism in my horror on occasion, you know. I mean, for the most part, I just like, you know, kill that girl or kill that person. I do enjoy bits of surrealism here and there, like the same kind of surrealism you would get from Nightmare on Elm Street, that kind of weird, wacky, dreamy kind of stuff. Good job explaining. Right. And then, oh man, you think the movie's over, right? You've gone, okay, yeah, that was about 2.5 hours. But just wait. After the credits, there's a little bit something extra for you. We're back with Freaky Vicky. She's in a mental hospital. She's gone a little weird. She is not pregnant at the beginning of this scene, but in no time at all goes through all the stages of pregnancy and gives birth to Art's head. Yeah, because remember, Sienna chopped off his head, so he didn't have a head. And then a woman gave birth to his head. We all know he had to come back somehow because we know Terrifier 3 is coming out, right? Terrifier 2 gets 5 fleshy stars. It had the story, the characters, the intensity, the ick. It was a fantastic horror slasher film. Level with me. It's just you and me, right? We're here. What is going to happen in Terrifier 3? No one could have anticipated what happened in Terrifier 2. So what? We're gonna pull a Jason and go off to space? Or like what? It's gotta be just bonkers, right? Okay, just between us. Do you think Art is Sienna's dad? I may have read something on the internet about that. I don't know if it's true though. I honestly don't. But it did cross my mind. I mean, it'd be so weird, like after all this time, to find out that your dad is a clown. Well, that's it from me. But before I go give birth to a clown's head, here's a spooky reminder that I have a Patreon. That's right. If you like exclusive horror content, you got it. Or if you'd like to support the show, but you only have money for, say, a coffee, you can buy me a coffee. I appreciate it more than you know, and I will shout you out in the next episode. A little thank you. A little thanks. All right, now that's it from me. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, follow, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and Letterboxd to see what I'm watching and what I'm rating. Bye, babe.